Hey guys, Ryan here at Signature Edits, and today I'm going to show you how to edit colors like a boss in Lightroom. Let's do it. Today we're going to be looking at this great image taken at the beach. Here's our before and here is our after. I'm going to show you how to do this. So starting at the very top, we're going to adjust our exposure just to bring things down a little bit because you can see that the image starts off quite bright. Next, we're going to just add some contrast here. And in Lightroom, there are multiple ways to do the same thing. So I don't necessarily have to add the contrast up here. If I wanted, I could go to my tone curve, hit three little points here. This is the blacks of the image. This is the whites. So this is the highlights, midtones, shadows. I've made a point in each. And by dragging our midtones down, that'll reduce the midtone contrast. Dragging it up will increase it. So you can see here's before and here's after. We've effectively done the same thing as just increasing our contrast up here, but slightly different because we're adjusting the midtones instead of the entire image contrast. So whatever works better for you. The point is there are lots of ways to adjust color and different settings inside of Lightroom. It just depends what works best for your situation. So continuing down, we're going to add a little bit of clarity just to bring out the texture in those cliffs. And just a little dehaze that'll help add our color saturation ever so slightly and make that sky pop a little bit. Little vibrance, and maybe the slightest bit of saturation. Okay, so that's our basic adjustments. Next, we're going to go down to our HSL panel, which is where the real color magic in Lightroom happens. This is where you get the super stylized looks that you see on Instagram. How? Well, we head to our hue panel, and by clicking this little dragger, I can actually adjust any section of my image by clicking and dragging up or down. So dragging up, my image is going to affect that particular color, the blue of the sky, and make it more purple. Dragging it down makes it more of a teal aqua color. So we're going to be going for aqua today because it's more of a vintage sort of look. Plus purple sky generally doesn't happen on Earth, so let's go with the aqua today. Great. And by clicking on these cliffs, I can see what color range, if you're watching here in the HSL panel, is being affected. I'm going to take my oranges and my yellows up towards red a little bit, away from green. Perfect, just like that. Now next, I'm going to adjust the saturation a little because my sky is looking good, but it's a little bit extreme. So I'm going to take the blues. I can either do that by clicking and dragging down and reduce the saturation, or I can just click this little toggle bar and take it down a little bit. Last, I'm going to take my luminance in the sky down just a little, and that'll help get some of that color back. So that's before the luminance and after. Now, I know this looks pretty silly, but we're going to keep going and keep playing with our colors. Again, here's before, and here's where we got to so far. Next, if I wanted to, I could add some split toning to my image. That's another way to add color. We can do that by adjusting my hue and taking my saturation up, and this will add color to any of the highlights in my image. So let's say that I want to make it a little bit warmer. And shadows, same thing. Let's say that I want to go for that, orange and teal look that the blockbuster movies are so famous for. Well, I can do that too. Let's find a nice teal here, somewhere around there, and then take my saturation back down. Now, a great trick to do this, if you don't want to take your saturation up just so you can see what you're doing and then adjust it back down every time, all you have to do is just press Alt and then drag on this hue, and that'll automatically set the saturation preview to 100% so that you can quickly adjust wherever you want to get your colors. So let's say there, and my shadows. As you can see, you can do some pretty extreme effects if you want to. But we're going to be subtle. Little by little, we're going to build this image. We're going to skip the detail, lens correction, transform effects, because those don't affect color so much, and go right into our calibration. Now, this is one of the most underused, misunderstood parts of Lightroom. Why? Because it seems scary. What exactly is calibration? Well, it's how Lightroom interprets the color of your images. So we can get Lightroom to interpret your shadows as more green or as more magenta. We can do the same with our reds, whether they're red or interpret it more as orange. I'm going to take the saturation up in those oranges and the reds. Green, same thing. I can take it more towards green, more towards a kind of yellowish blue. And then my blues, this is always the most significant change. Dragging it all the way this way is really going to bring out that aqua and orange look. Bringing it all the way this way is going to make it look like we're on another planet. So we're going to take it in the middle there, probably around here. And just like that, we've come a long way in our image. Here's before, and here's after. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do to adjust this image is go up and adjust my white balance. This is one trick that you can do if your image isn't looking the way you want it to. It could be because your white balance isn't set right. Adjusting this is going to adjust all the colors in your image because it's going to add warmth or coolness to the entire image. So by taking it and warming it up just a little bit, you can see how much more red and yellow comes out of the image, how it just seems to pop, whereas our before shot is a lot cooler. So just by warming things up ever so slightly, we can take that image and get a little bit more pop out of the cliffs and out of the sky. So that's a few ways that we can adjust color inside of Lightroom. As you can see, there's lots of different ways to do the same thing. I could also go into my adjustment layers and make myself a quick little adjustment brush to bring out extra texture and some saturation. So let's do that here, just like that, and we're going to paint onto the cliffs. I could do the same thing with the sky by taking my white balance in my temperature, my exposure down slightly, saturation up, clarity can go down, dehaze can go down because there's not really much to dehaze up in the sky, and my sharpness down because that doesn't matter. And by painting that on here, you'll see the sky is getting a little bit more intense. And that's mostly because of this trick up here. Both lowering the exposure, upping the saturation, and lowering the temperature, you can really add blue to the sky, even if it's a little blown out. So that's just a nice little trick you can use. And we can dial back that effect just by reducing our values here. If you want to download this preset, I'll make it available in the link below. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If it was, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more great content. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. Hey, if you have an edit that you would like to see done or an image that you would like to see edited, please send me a message. I'll get back to you and we'll do it in a future tutorial. All right, until next time, go make something awesome.